genres help you define your market, your audience, things
Of
like that.
course.
But
Doesn't really define you.
I'm very adamant about the fact that I only do what I do.
Yeah.
आपको चाहिए तो आप ले लो,
हाँ जी.
आपको नहीं चाहिए तो I'll figure it out. For me, keeping the thing intact is right now it's more important than just like diluting it.
Whatever I was interested in presenting to them, I realized I would never be able to make money. And I actually didn't make money. And what instead I did was I started hosting events and मैं अपने आप को लाइनअप पे डाला था.
Those who can't do, teach. And those who can't teach, बांटो ज्ञान on podcasts.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Track Talk with Sodhi, where we dive into the heartbeats of the Indian music scene. Well, today we have someone whose voice stands out in the Indian music landscape. Known for his soulful melodies to his raw and emotive performances, we have Uday, also known as Guy Velvet, with us. Man, Uday, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you so much for being a part of this. I've been always very curious to have you on the podcast and, like just to know and learn a bit about you. Your performances are absolutely brilliant, whatever I've seen.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course. So as all the episodes usually go, it's more about understanding ki bhai, where did you kind of start from? Kahan se inspirations aaye? What were the influences? So really kind of curious to learn about you. So it'll be great for the listeners as well.
Right.
So, if you can just start off introducing yourself and kahan se, where you really started off with music.
मैं शुरुआत तो that's a tough one यार.
Yeah.
वही थोड़ा इंटरव्यू मोड में चला जाता है. जॉब इंटरव्यू. Me myself, Uday, BA, psychology,
Myself for the.
Bombay University.
Yeah.
शुरू से इंटरेस्ट था म्यूजिक में मूवीज में
Right.
और कार्टून्स में.
Mm.
I used to enjoy listening to all songs. The theme songs for cartoons is, I guess, where it really started for me. Like if you remember, our generation was more like SWAT Cats and Centurions and things like that. So theme songs for that really stuck out in my head. Simpsons, all of that was like great music. That was before I was, actively got into rock music, or
Yeah.
Pink Floyd, or Doors, or AC/DC, or Led Zeppelin, or any of that. I think it started there with that and just horrible 80s and 90s Bollywood movies and Dilair Mehndi, and I think that's really the origin story as such.
Right.
And then of course when some amount of options came in terms of I don't know, today we live in what I call the era of abundance. So
Right.
कहीं भी कुछ भी किसी भी समय आप
Of
इट्स
course.
सब कुछ है. आपको पिज्जा चाहिए तो 20 मिनट में आ जाएगा आपको. तो मतलब हर तरह की सेटिस्फैक्शन अब like you can like like it's just there at the tip of your fingertips, whereas earlier I felt like you had to either you were blessed in terms of like you had friends who had like a lot of cassettes, whether they were video cassettes for movies or you had audio cassettes or CDs or things where you could borrow, including comics. I think comics was also like there was a scarcity of comics. Like there weren't like that many. Like I remember going and then it was always a thing. Like if you borrowed a comic or a cassette, कि तूने मेरी cassette return नहीं करी है, तूने मेरा comic book, it became a bone of contention of sorts. So because things were less, we cherished them more in that sense. So what we remembered, like what I remember started off with listening to was like Two Doors cassettes, which I traded with another friend who had the Metallica S&M. So we traded that. Then I heard some Metallica, and that's just how it went.
Right.
It was literally one thing at a time till the advent of the burnable CDs and iPod. That was the great game changer, because that was the first time that we could like listen to a lot of music, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Prior to that, it was what I call the era of scarcity.
Right. Yeah. So was there like a time where you must have picked up the guitar and you must have started singing? So performance wise, where did that all start? Did you form a band in back in school in college or
No, I actually didn't do any music
okay?
in school or college. I could play a little bit, but like very little. Like
Mm.
till I discovered the harmonica. वो मैंने
Yeah.
I bought one, and that was its own journey. क्योंकि I went down this trip of like learning blues harmonica and stuff like that, and वहाँ से I started taking some guitar lessons, and so I did that for a while, and I played guitar also in a band for a while, and then one fine day I thought that I needed to change things. So actually, this is an interesting story. How I started singing is because there was a gig and I was playing guitar, and 48 hours before the show, all communication with the singer just happened to cease.
Right.
She
Wow.
vanished.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's when I cracked because I didn't know what to do. So that's when I thought about it and I said, okay, I can sing for 35, 40 minutes. Like, it's not that big a deal. I can handle it. So I changed the set list. Obviously, gave myself like simpler songs because I wasn't ready to just sing as such.
Right.
And it went off well. And that was the real shift in my mind as such. Like, it was more, it was born out of the thing of necessity, and then it took a life of its own.
Right. So it just grew on you that you understood that okay, this is something that you would like to do and you enjoyed doing as well,
Yeah,
right?
I just like I started looking things differently in terms of like I started looking at instruments more like tools in terms of purpose they serve, in terms of just making it just about the tools and just saying, oh, I need to get better at using the tools, which just became about the full what and why. And
Right. And what was when was the inception of Guy Velvet, the moniker? How did you come up with the name?
so there's actually I've been lying for these years
Right.
because now I don't know. And the thing is, I've floated two three origin stories as such. One is like how I came up with Guy Ritchie and Velvet Underground, and how I combined those two.
Right.
Similar to like what Marilyn Manson did with the
Right.
whole Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson.
Okay.
That was his inception.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware. Okay.
So that's how he came up with Marilyn Manson. Right? He took Marilyn Monroe, and then he took rather Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson, and then he coined those together, and that's how he came up with
Right.
Marilyn Manson. So that's what I said. But really, what happened was that I lucked out because I got a tanging velvet jacket somewhere around 2018, 2019. It just stuck. It just became one of those things where people identified me with it, and
Right.
and then I remember I had a friend Nihar who coined a few lines, which was like, some call him thunder. He shines like gold. It's electric, the guy in a velvet coat. So that's really, I think, where it is, where it started in terms, because that's how I got. So I tried velvet guy for a little while.
Okay.
So I changed my true color
Yeah.
to velvet guy, and then I found out with this chick in 2018, and she was like, I saw this. What was this? And she said, velvet guy. Guy velvet would sound better. And I was like, oh shit, that's what it is.
Yeah. It does actually. Yeah.
This is elegant.
Oh wow.
So it split. I flipped this thing and quickly on Instagram. But to my horror, I realized that there was already a guy velvet. I became guy velvet underscore.
Fair enough. That sounds fair. Yeah.
Oh damn! Like yeah, I wasn't quick enough maybe, but luckily मैंने देखा यार कि कोई और दुनिया में कोई और बिजनेस नहीं चला रहा
Right.
किसी भी तरह का.
Right.
I'm not talking music anything, but like कोई किसी भी तरह का बिजनेस नहीं चला रहा under the name Guy Velvet.
Right.
So I was kind of stoked from that perspective कि अब मतलब अब तो 2-3 साल निकल गए हैं, 2-3 आर्टिकल भी छप गए अखबार में. अब कोई भी देखेगा तो दुनिया भर में देखेगा कि एक ही गाय वेलवेट. So from that perspective, that objective was met.
Right. And very interesting. So also in terms of like family and friend support, they were always, if there was no kind of hindrance on that path, there was always support from family and friends in terms of music kar lo, because it's not a typical Indian family household thing ki my son is going to become a musician, ya tum beta tum karo music karo.
It's a tough one,
Yeah.
to say the least. I don't know, man. I don't think it's unreasonable for parents to want their kids to kind of have, to be able to earn a living and be able to look after themselves. What happens is people try and look at the lens of reality from their own eyes,
Right.
but not from the eyes of, like, let's say their parents were born like 30 years before them, 35 years before them. They grew up in a different time. They grew up in a different economy, a different India. In terms of options, and that's why it's always hard in the beginning. But it's not as hard as the musicians who did it 2 generations before us or 3 generations before us,
Absolutely.
where there was the only avenue for really making money was a cushy hotel job
Right.
where you would earn a princely sum of 30,000 rupees and live like a king in the 90s.
Right.
That's what a lot of my peers and friends who are like a lot older than us, who are now in their 60s, but back in the day they said, hey, jute wute pade, but the only way to kind of make it seem okay to our parents was that we had this hotel job and then you had to learn 30 pop songs. So you really stand on the shoulders of the guys who did it before us. Up to khair, at least like there are options. There are different avenues for musicians to make money. And there's weddings, there's corporate shows, there's even in the indie music thing, you earn less money, but you do earn money.
Right.
So it's not that there are no avenues. You know, uh, electronic music opens up options if you can DJ. Some people host karaoke nights, and it's really okay in terms of you do what you want to do. So there is no.
Still make enough money also, right?
So
Yeah. And make enough money to kind of survive decently, right? Like it's not just a survival phase ki
you have to be
just-
resourceful.
yeah.
You have to be resourceful, and
Right.
you have to hustle. But doesn't anyone who runs a business, doesn't anyone, everybody has to hustle
Everybody's got to hustle.
at some level, right? If that paycheck is not coming at the end of the month, you better have your wits about you. You better have your street smarts. You better start looking at terms of how much money you're looking at, how much money you're making, and if you aren't earning money, let's say for example, if we're talking musicians specifically, is there a way to diversify your income streams? इधर से भी आ रहा है, teaching से भी आ रहा है. There is no there's no you are, at the end of the day you have to live with yourself, right?
Right.
Your parents can support you at times or not support you. Come back to your original question.
Yeah.
Took a huge
Right.
it's
completely
tangent
okay,
of
yeah,
sorts,
yeah,
but at the end of the day, there's one life that we know of, and you have to live with yourself and your own choices.
Right.
So might as well make the best of it.
Right.
Where you have a smile on your face, you look forward to tomorrow. You will have challenges if you don't hit some kind of mainstream success, but But you have to live with yourself. And you have to live with your choices. And you have to make the most of your time in terms of, really, I think a lot of people do music because there's some, at least initially, a lot of people have some kind of pursuit of excellence.
Right.
Excellence is sort. I want to be good at my instrument. I want to be great at my instrument.
Right.
I want to be at this show. I want so many people to attend. I have a voice.
Right.
I wanted to reach out to people. That need and that craving is what fuels you.
Yeah.
The hindrance that your parents throw at you,
That's true.
or how much your friend is making,
Yes.
or the constant comparison with cousins, that is the most
फिर तो हो गया
fucking
भाई.
annoying thing on
Then
the
तो
planet.
yeah, then तो
उसकी देखी, उसकी तो शादी भी हो गई अभी तो.
फिर तो हो गया भाई.
मेरा बच्चा कहाँ पढ़ेगा? कौन सी पाठशाला में तेरा बेटा पढ़ेगा या बेटी पढ़ेगी?
अब फिर तो हो गया
फिर
भाई.
तो हो
Then
गया.
फिर
बट
तो
तब बैठ
आपने
गया यार. फिर
फिर
तो
तो पूरे कर लिया आपने अपने सपने. But so in terms of music, it was always blues and rock and roll. That was your calling, or you were like, चलो experiment कर लेते हैं. Maybe let's go with like hardcore rock or I don't know some other genre, and then you're like, okay, no, actually this works better for me in terms of for my soul, in terms for the money or the performance.
शुरू में तो there was a active interest in blues and rock and roll and
Yeah,
classic rock for the lack of a
right. Yeah,
better term.
got it.
अब तो सब आ जाता है क्लासिक रॉक में. पर्ल जैम भी आ जाता है, निर्वाणा भी आ जाता है.
बहुत टाइम हो गया
अब तो
उन्हें.
क्वीन भी आ जाता है क्लासिक रॉक में. apparently
Wow.
we're living that far in the future. But my point being that I had an interest in mm, I still have an active interest in learning more about blues music,
Mm,
and from like as much of a holistic perspective that I can learn in it. I felt like I felt like it belonged to something,
right.
right? Like a lot of people do music, like they feel like they belong to something. So I felt I belonged to something, and I did it. And but traditional music has some merits of doing, and then it doesn't have some merits. It has merits in the sense that you become a part of a community, but then that also limits you to the how many events that you know which where there's a requirement for
Of course.
that kind of music.
Right.
So उससे avenues कम होते हैं, and I'm of that opinion that the choices that you make and also just you can come from somewhere, but you can do more things.
Right. Of course.
You can be more than what you set out. Sure, the initial ideas or the initial start point,
Yeah.
because having roots is a good thing. It grounds you.
Mm,
When you get lost, you can always come back
yeah.
to your roots. But it's also important to just be free. Like all the people who we loved who've come before us, most of them at some level, they just said, you know what? It's genre by itself is a very it's a box, man.
It is. Yeah.
I don't want to live in a box.
Of course.
I just want to do my own thing. You know.
Right. And I mean, there's still genres are still boxes, but you still can choose as to what you really want and what you don't, right? Like
Sure.
so. I
Sure.
think
But it's like colors.
right.
It's like colors. Like
Absolutely.
if you have a palette of
Right.
colors, you can choose which colors you want to paint with
Right.
a specific painting, and then the next painting you can use a different palette of colors, right?
Absolutely.
You can be absolutely vehemently against using some colors. You could say, I don't want to use fluorescent or something. That's fine. That's a choice.
Right.
But yeah, it's about knowing what you want.
So you did also make that choice as per a little bit of financial aspect of things, as per what would work for you and the audience and the performance and
Sure,
as an act, right?
that's correct.
Right.
I did. I started off with a what I call a jazbati mindset.
Mm.
And then I opened up and I said, okay, there are certain things that I'm doing
Yeah.
which are working more than the other things that I'm doing.
Right.
Okay, maybe I'm enjoying those other things more. So, and at the end of the day, कोई साला टिकट मतलब खरीदता है और शो पे आता है.
Right.
If it is entertainment, you have to send people home happy.
Right. Of course.
That's what a
Of
that's what a
course.
product is. That's what
Right.
a product is. Now there are varying degrees to what, but it's your world. Like it's your art, it's your show.
Yeah.
It's up to you how you want to sell tickets.
Right.
So you curate an experience. So I in that instance you can draw from a bunch of people. You can draw from wherever you want.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's your best foot forward. You have to present a bunch of things which are which are going to make a like a great successful evening.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
Right.
At the end, that's the goal.
That's the goal. That's a product.
Yeah. Of course.
At home, you can come back and do anything. Right?
Exactly.
At home, you could get into some like
Different space altogether.
you get some obscure death metal.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You could do it. You know, it's just people do that. People like are can have a broader range of things which they're into than what they're presenting.
Right.
And that's what makes it holistic. That's what makes. Give you an example.
Yeah.
Mark Tremonti.
Right. That's the Creed's. Sorry. That's the Creed's.
Yeah, that's the guy who plays
Right.
guitar for Creed, right? Now, he sings Frank Sinatra beautifully.
Oh, really?
Who
I
the
had no clue. I had no
check
idea.
it out? Check out
Wow.
Mark Tremonti singing Frank Sinatra. And it's not just कि कर रहा है. He's doing it at a par excellence level.
Right. Right.
You would associate him with alternative rock, terms like neo grunge. It's like
Right.
boxes. It's just he's a guy. He's making his art. Sure, he has to. He needs genres help you define your market, your audience, things
Of
like
course.
that. But
Doesn't really define you.
even those genres, they need holistic personalities. That's where I was actually coming from. That's what people need in music, in entertainment.
Right.
That's why people like Ranveer Singh. I find him annoying, but people like him. People
It
like
works
the
for them.
fact that he's a whack job.
Right.
You know, he's wearing these outrageous clothes of sorts, and he's jumping around, and you know, it's just this is completely whacked out behavior.
Right.
But that's his thing. That's his art.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. And I mean, I can relate to it because for when I tried to become a musician, I was so hell bent on doing what I love to do. I was like, मैं करूँगा Pearl Jam songs, मैं करूँगा कुछ a couple of songs और मेरे को यही करना है live guitar और vocalist में. Then I realized nobody's really interested in listening to it. And then I realized I'm actually more than that. I do like a lot of other genres and I might want to combine it, but I just don't have it to present it to them. So whatever I was interested in presenting to them, I realized I would never be able to make money. And I actually didn't make money. And what instead I did was I started hosting events and मैं अपने आप को lineup पे डाला था just to get that portfolio. But in reality, there was no money coming in. There was no product that was being sold or was making sense to that. So I completely kind of understand that it can be still a part of you, but it can be a much better sellable product or a serve, like, you know, just a presentation for the actual consumption in the entertainment space that we are serving at the end of it, right? So, yeah. And so Guy Velvet has been performing for a while now. And
Yeah,
you know,
about a good 3 years.
Yeah. And you, I think a little 3 years से पहले भी I think you did.
And it shows I played guitar. I played guitar for a band called Grand Old Dog.
Well, okay.
And it was good. We did more traditional blues.
Right.
We had a good run.
Right.
But then I decided at some stage that I needed a change.
Okay.
Things
Cool.
have to keep moving.
Mm.
I look forward to that. That's what drives me.
Right.
Yeah. Uh, when I get comfortable, then I feel like things need to change.
So since you performed for a couple of years now, आपने band की play करा, my idea was to understand कि has it been majority of your performances has been for venues, or was it also for private events, or did you transition into private events later? How have you been trying to work it for yourself on that front?
इसमें यार, you want an honest answer?
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
Okay. Like I haven't cracked it. Like
Right.
I'm telling you the truth. I haven't
Right. Right.
but what I do realize is that, let's say I built Guy Velvet so that I could do independent music.
Right.
I could do uh, songs which weren't popular songs, but I felt that they could make a show work, and I mix that with my own music, with my own songs, and my own arrangements, and all of that. And I thought I'm going to use this like like a like a theater of sorts to kind of uh, just entertain people. And that's how I conceptualized initially what the product was. So I didn't think in terms of how I was going to monetize it.
Right.
So after the initial whatever, the the shows, the repeated shows, etc., I then started getting inquiries in terms of like, "Ab ye bhi kar sakte, ab wo bhi kar sakte hain." And then I realized, oh, not really equipped to do. Um, I'm not really equipped to do certain kinds of shows right now. And also, I feel, coming back to what I was saying, was I built Guy Velvet, like myself or whatever, to do independent music, really.
Right.
So I didn't look at playing weddings or corporate shows,
Right.
because that would entail me having to change the music that I do.
Yes. So
Whenever I do commercial music, I do it, let's say, under a different moniker, or a
okay.
different moniker, different set of clothes,
Right.
uh, a different setup, because I don't want to confuse people in terms of what the product is, of course. Because if you build something for one thing, and you're doing something else with that, it confuses the audience, it confuses the expectation, and yeah.
Right. And financially, so in the past 3 years, have you been able to reach a level where there's a bit more of financial freedom? Ki at least मेरा काम चल रहा है. I'm able to make enough money because see, you're an independent artist. Independent artist, it's very tough to make money as a cover artist. Or I mean, you do covers as well,
I do.
right? So, but somebody who's just doing covers, or somebody who's उनके लिए you can get very regular gigs at venues and at stuff like that. So did you also take that path कि चलो अभी covers करते हैं, and then I have a few originals, I want to release one, I want to perform some, see the reaction and see how it's working out. So financial aspect अभी तक कैसा चल रहा है आपका?
फाइनेंशियल एस्पेक्ट ऐसा चल रहा है कि कभी अच्छा चलता है और कभी बुरा चलता है. सिंपल.
Stability उतना नहीं रहता.
Stability, uh, stability it's. I'll tell you. I'll answer that question. It's because I didn't make Guy Velvet
Right.
to do to play weddings and corporate shows. I'm reiterating my point. I didn't build it for that.
Right.
Money has started coming in as a byproduct because people started enjoying the performances. So I do commercial work,
Yeah.
but I like I this thing I don't perform under. I don't perform as Guy Velvet Group because I I use uh, the performances that I have, the clips from my independent shows,
Right.
And on the basis of that, those people reach out to me and say, we like this energy, we like this music. Can you come and play?
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, I'm very adamant about the fact that I only do what I do.
Yeah.
आपको चाहिए तो आप ले लो,
हाँ जी.
आपको नहीं चाहिए तो I'll figure it out.
Right.
And because like I said, for me, keeping the thing intact is right now it's more important than
Of
just
course.
you know like diluting it. क्योंकि अगर कोई खरीद रहा है, मुझे कोई खरीद रहा है, so they have to get that full experience. They shouldn't
Yeah.
feel कि यार this guy's half-assing it.
Yeah.
तो अभी थोड़े पैसे like this year and this year again, like in terms of slow start, but it's picking up. I'll tell you what, honestly, like every 2 months, 3 months, I try and make it a point, something improves,
Right.
right? And that's
Yeah.
the only thing that I like actively have control over.
Yeah. That's actually great. Yeah.
Before that, I've worked as a music teacher for a while. I've worked as a music teacher as a while also,
Right.
for many years. And like they say, those who can't do teach, and those who can't teach Batu Gyan on podcasts because no one is paying them for it. Like,
But I think हम तीनों कर रहे हैं अभी फिलहाल. आपने टीच भी कर लिया, आपने you've done it also, and आप ज्ञान भी थोड़ा बहुत बांट ही रहे हो.
ज्ञान भी
So it's all
बांट ही-
good. Yeah. Like, even these are all things that can be just said very easily. So now, like you're also, so you just very recently released your single as well, right?
Yeah.
How did you go about it? How did you go about the whole processes? I mean, what the process looks like to release your first debut song? Like, yeah, I'm very curious to understand that.
First is the production stage where you make the song. You initially what you do is you have to write the song first.
Right.
Then you have to somewhere just like, okay, this is the best that I can do at this possible time, and take a deep breath and say, like, now I need to move on to other things, because that is the most important thing you write as well. Somewhere you have to just like say, okay, like at this possible time, like if I give it more time, I'm going to waste another 6 months on it. First you finish your song, right? Then you get into the mixing stage, which is another mind fuck of sorts, because then you have to just keep listening to it. First you listen to the mix in the car, then you listen to the mix on a phone, then a Bluetooth speaker, then your friend's house,
Yeah.
then you force it on other people and in a party land or a party है खुद का गाना बजाते हो,
Bacha, bhai.
खुद का प्रमोशन करते हो,
Yeah.
फिर थोड़ा सा फीडबैक लेते हो, है थोड़ा बेस कम आ रहा है, थोड़ा कोई कह रहे तो यार वोकल्स में यार वो शाइन नहीं आ रही कोई, ये इट्स ऑल एब्स्ट्रैक्ट. फिर वो सब करके यू somehow you manage to get past that, and you have to keep telling yourself बस आगे निकल आगे निकल आगे निकल, do the next thing. So you do that. Then after the whole thing is done, this is where it gets interesting, is you make a list
Right.
of all the contacts that you have of whoever can push your song, basically.
Right. Okay.
So for example, if I know somebody in the radio, then or if I know somebody in a major publication or something, etc.
Yeah.
All you have to do is sincerity. You have to just say, hey, I've done this, I've written this song. Give it a listen if you like it. And just do it with the like the honest open approach. And that's a good way to start. Like that's how I started. There are other things. People hire PR agency. People go all out, and they have somebody who completely handles that for them. And if you can afford it, that's honestly, it's not a bad thing, because you can make a great piece of art, but it also needs to reach out.
Yeah.
And then what I did was I kind of, for my first song, I just wanted to kind of see what, I wanted to test the waters out there. And my friends told me about CD Baby, third party platform. What CD Baby does is it gives you deal
Okay.
where you upload your song and वो आपके लिए उसे Spotify पे डालता है, Apple Music पे
Got
डालता है, YouTube पे डालता है, गाना सावन etc.
I got it. Yeah, it's a distributor basically.
हाँ,
It's a distribution
सो
platform.
वो फिर चढ़ जाता है, फिर उसका आपका Spotify का आर्टिस्ट प्रोफाइल बनता है, Apple Music का आर्टिस्ट प्रोफाइल बनता है, उससे आपको दिखता है कि स्ट्रीम महीने में कितने कितने स्ट्रीम्स आए आपके गाने पे. एंड देन टू दे से नाउ टू हैक द सिस्टम इज दैट यू नीड रेगुलर रिलीज. तो
Right.
मतलब समय समय पे अपने आप को दोबारा पागल करना पड़ता है. यू हैव टू चेस द सेम
Wow.
chase the same dog again.
Yeah.
But having said that, it becomes easier. The like now I'm finding, because of all the mistakes that I made previously,
Right.
in terms of just being able to speed up the process. How to just get your song ready so your producer doesn't want to pull out his hair and say ये क्या गलती है, go back to the drawing board and do
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
again. So you also want to do things where you can in terms of in terms of arrangement, in terms of recording, where you record your song in a clean, concise way, so that you can you can go about things in a orderly fashion. And in this case, it doesn't hurt to just, like any other uh like profession, you just take advice from somebody who's done it a million times before. Because they'll just tell you ways in which you're going to save time and money.
Right.
Because uh, every song serves a purpose, right? It's gonna get you. It's gonna get it. You're gonna release it uh, on the basis that if you release a song or an album, it's gonna serve a purpose. That's your artist portfolio. Like how artists earlier used to work with this thing with a canvas, where they open it, and so your portfolio is your artist portfolio of sort is the release you do, the press coverage that you do, the photos that you have, the write up that you have, the 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 band referrals that you have, all of that. It's called what we call a press kit. So that is your that's your professional portfolio, as well as what you have on Spotify. And the music producer is a different animal altogether,
Yeah.
which I'm looking at in terms of just being able to write scripts. So there's a lot of things which happen parallelly behind the scenes. So
Mhm.
in terms of you know having a vision and being able to execute it, that's tough. You can have a great vision, you can have great ideas, but you need the right set of people. So all of this takes time, but that's all right. In terms of when you want to do something, I guess you want to do it to the best of your ability and what you have in your mind. You just want to try and like kind of do that. So that's where I'm at right. I've got 6, 7 songs. I did like you mentioned. My single "Set Me Free" came out last
Right.
year. Now I've got a good 6, 7 songs, which have taken about a year and a half to write, and uh, recorded. Recorded. Now I'm in the mix stage.
Oh, okay.
I'm in
That's
the
pretty.
I'm in the mix stage, and I also have tied up with these guys who make very good short films,
Mm.
but they're keen to do music videos.
Right.
So
That's
it's a unique, it's a beautiful thing in the sense that you want to do something, I want to do something. We like each other's art, so we can pool our resources. We can pool our resources. We can pool our expertise, and we can make good art.
right.
That's at the risk of sounding whatever. I think that's risk of sounding pretentious or something. I know money is important. I'm not saying money is not important, but that's what I've always chased. I said, yeah, let's make the best possible thing that we can. So that we look back and we say, okay, fine. At that given time, I did my best. I wrote the best set of lyrics. I had a good idea. I conceptualized,
Right.
you know, a good song. I took the right input. It's a labor of love
Yeah.
of sorts.
And So with the new album, you're also planning to take out you're planning to take out a whole EP, or you're planning singles
So
or
7 songs
album, pretty
is an
much.
album.
It's an album, yeah, yeah. That's like the A side and the B side, like three and four.
B-side.
Yes,
Fuck. Yeah, it's been a while. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's very interesting, and because when it comes, all of it comes together, no, it's very satisfying to see it come to life.
Yeah, that's very
Like,
satisfying. It's also nice to Kel sang, shout out to Kel sang. She did the album artwork
right, I
and
really
she
liked it.
she painted it on canvas.
Right, set me free, right? Yeah, yeah,
And it gives a personal touch. It gives a she did a great job, but also in terms of just it brings something to life. It gives more of a story to
mm.
what something is. Like my song title set me free, and there is like an anime caricature of me
Right,
of
yeah,
sorts, and
with the
I'm
arms wide,
arms wide,
yeah,
and I'm like rising up like from the dead,
exactly,
like Lazarus,
right,
Jesus or something,
yeah,
and
yeah,
so it was conjures up an image of sorts. Like,
right. Something that we were talking about, what Canva can't do.
yeah, it just
Art,
can
no templatization of things. And
templatization of things. Yeah, it's you can only automate to a certain degree. I think what people are interested in rather are unique individual stories, and
yeah, yeah,
that's computer can't go to like can't go to Goa or Rishikesh or Manali or France or whatever. It can't go there
absolutely,
and can't experience something on a beach or the mountains, or it can't जैसी भी चीज हो. It might be the most beautiful of thoughts or might be the most वाहियात of ideas, but है तो अपनी
right.
ये जज्बात ये
बिल्कुल
ये
जज्बात
ये होता है
जज्बात में आते हैं,
जज्बात
हाँ
है तो
सही में,
अपनी तो
सही में,
कुछ कहानी है खुद की कुछ है. That is, I feel that is what are the more endearing things about art in general.
right. Um, and your art also comes out in your live performance. Like, you have a wild live performance, by the way. Like, you have some energy which is, I don't know where it comes from, man, because when I talk to you, you're more like, like, calm and composed boy that I'm speaking to. And then suddenly I think that boy is saving up, or man, rather, sorry, but is saving up all the
Mostly boy.
energy for that live performance. If this man would jump off the stage, would jump everywhere while singing. I don't know how he does it, but he does it beautifully. And I think, yeah, it's very impressive to see you perform. I think it does the exact job of what you are trying to present as well. But is it all so genuine, or is there some bit of act that you do have to kind of push it to make it an act? Is this you trying to be wild and free with what you like to do completely, or
So it's a fine line
yeah,
between fine line. There's a beautiful line, right? And if you cross over, it's obnoxious.
right,
So the trick lies in just walking. We walk the cliff. You know what's another step, and
right? It's gonna be
it's a disaster,
right,
which it has been on certain nights. But that's the price,
right. Of course,
and you have to embrace.
gotta risk it.
You have to embrace the fact that I might embarrass myself, but if I don't, I'll be free.
Right. Yeah.
You have to walk to that. You have to battle with yourself enough to say, "Yeah, man, I can do it. Like
Yeah.
I can do it. I can risk. I can risk the thought of somebody saying that this is a complete cock up of a human being.
Right.
Like complete cock up of a human being. He's just like he's
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
he's willing to he's willing to put it on the line. And there's something which makes an interesting this thing, right? It's when people come, they say, okay, fine. Some of it, I won't say script to come back to your original question, but it
Yeah.
is things which have tried and worked before.
Right.
And then there's an element of improv.
Yeah, of course.
Element of improv in the sense because it is live music and it's a live performance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fair
It's a
enough.
live performance. You have to react to stimuli, right? You react to stimuli, right? You see something happen, and in real time you can pick up, you can pick it up.
Of course.
Like, and crazy things happen. Like this one time, this guy got so excited. I was making these people jump, 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 jump. Everybody else jump, 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 jump. These guys are jumping, and suddenly this guy, the rowdy Punjabi guy, snatches the mic out of my hand.
Yeah.
And he started, oh, buddy, what's happening, buddy? Oh my God. And I thought it was awesome. I
Oh,
thought
really?
I thought
Okay.
it was awesome. Like a lot of
Okay.
people would just be like, yeah, kya kar rahe hain? So, I'm
Yeah,
trying to
you
work here. I had another mindset. I was like, fucking awesome. So I jumped behind him and I caught the guy in a headlock. And I'm like pretend choking him.
Right.
That I'm just like rubbing his head. That he's giving me back my bike. That I'm singing another line. Then he's snatching my mic. Then he's doing it again. And
Oh, wow. Yeah.
so you can't
Mm.
script something like
Of
that,
course,
man. It just
yeah.
happens. It's just there,
Right.
then and there, you know.
Right.
And then some
Oh,
I
man.
this thing like like sometimes it's just so much fun because truly like it's the reason why I enjoy Adam Sandler movies, right? You know, because dumb shit happens, but it's so fun,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So and this thing usually I'd find this one volunteer and I'd get on his I'd just climb on top of his shoulders and
Yeah.
it wasn't like a band mascot or anything. It was just any
Right.
volunteer for the night, like जो भी मिल गया. एक बार we were playing this New Year's show and it was crazy because
Yeah.
पतले से पतला बन रहा था. He couldn't support my weight.
Right.
So we both went down like the Hindenburg, like, you know,
Yeah.
we just like
Wow.
capsized.
Yeah.
And with us, we took an entire table. We took an entire table in the sense of glass idhar ja raha hai, wo idhar ja raha hai.
Right.
Like, what life for?
Oh, man. I think live performances, that's
Imagine,
be-
यार, someone has come and said कि यार मैंने 500 रुपए की टिकट खरीदी है. उसकी तो साले की वसूली हो गई. मतलब उसके दिमाग में तो he's gonna go back home and say like, you know what? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Maybe I knew the songs. I didn't know the song. But I had fun.
Right. Exactly.
I had fun.
Absolutely.
And that's really it. Like,
Yeah, man. Live performances are it's a different ball game altogether also. I think when you're sometimes recording those songs that you wrote and you want to release and you know kind of, so does that element of live music ever come to that recording or that energy ever come into recording? Because like for early on there was this whole idea of rock and roll, that how you would really perform on stage is maybe also how you're recording the songs. I mean, now it's everything is a little
yeah,
bit
you don't
more
want to capture what you do
Right.
live.
right. You not entirely
I mean, you want to capture the essence of it.
right.
And that's where a good producer comes in, man. Because
Oh, okay.
the producer, like movie director, it's the same thing, right? You know, you can have a Jack Nicholson or like a Robert De Niro or something.
Yeah.
जब तक कोई साला स्कॉर्सेजी टाइप का आदमी नहीं हो, नहीं बनेगी आपकी
बिल्कुल।
गुड फेलोज या
Yeah.
वन फ्लू ओवर कुकूज ने उस लेवल का आपको मिलेगा नहीं
Right.
मामला.
Right.
तो प्रोड्यूसर का भी रोल वही होता है.
Hmm.
वो he has to understand कि आप आए कहाँ से हो. Right? What do you do? Why do people follow you, consume you? Why do they do that? Why do you have a fan base?
Right. What is that you're providing to them, and then consider that, and
Exactly. You know, you
Kind
look
of
at someone like
consider.
Shang Bhatnagar.
right.
I would, you know, if he's gonna write music, he's gonna work with a producer who's come and seen that, who's come to those shows, man,
Exactly.
and he's felt that energy there. You know, that push, that shove.
Right.
You know, that feel of that, water being thrown from the stage onto you, that it, the violence, that energy, because if you don't have that, you're not going to get reference to context.
Right.
Reference to context is so important when it comes to production or direction of a music video,
Yeah.
because someone has to see what you're comfortable with, right?
Right. Super interesting. Yeah. So producer makes a lot of difference. I
Of
mean,
course, it's just the same thing as a director.
Yeah.
They look at what your strengths are. At the end of the day, like when you're making something, your strengths are important.
Right.
Right? How can you be directed in a way where चाहे आपको कोई डंडा मार के कराए, या कोई आपको प्यार से कोक्स करके कराए, या कोई आपको बार बार स्मोक ब्रेक करवा के कराए,
Yeah.
बट
Correct.
कराए.
Absolutely. And so this has been very interesting, Uday. And I really want to ask you this question about in this entire career of yours, jazz se shuru kara abhi tak. What was the most challenging time as an artist? Ki you might have been like, "Bhai, I don't know if I can really do it, if I should really go forward with it." ऐसा कोई time आया कभी?
So it's two phases, I feel, man. COVID was hard.
Right.
Because COVID, I think a lot of people, they had time to introspect and look. And I was also like, prior to Guy Velvet,
Right.
there was no Guy Velvet. Guy Velvet was an inception during COVID of sorts, where I could finally do it.
Right.
Get my own people to kind of come and just. So that was hard. There was some serious talks then, and that was also the critical window. I realized, like, if I was gonna get out of music, it was gonna be then. Of that I knew I'd always do music, but in what capacity? And again, no fucking shame.
Of course.
There's no fucking
Decision.
shame. There's no fucking shame, right? In terms of like, कोई कहता है यार, it's so brave that you guys do music or whatever. I think जब तक कर रहे हैं.
So brave.
Condescending also, but like whatever.
Yeah,
But I said यार, जब तक कर रहे हैं, कल को क्या पता यार, दुकान दुकान नहीं चले तो कुछ और कर लेंगे यार. मतलब कोई शर्म नहीं है यार, जब तक करेंगे ईमानदारी से करेंगे यार. मतलब so that was difficult. And second phase is now. यार, I feel now is I try and live in the present, so I feel now is I have a few challenges.
Okay. What are those few challenges?
In terms of promotion, in terms of just being able to promote, put up shows where I can, have the kind of tech
Right.
that I need.
Right.
The tech, the whole production aspect of the show,
The setting of the whole thing.
the setting, the opening act, the opening act, things like that, promoting and marketing a show, because that's ultimately what people want to do, right? People want to sell tickets, right?
That's true. That's
People
true.
want to sell tickets.
Yeah.
People want to sell tickets, and that's so that I feel is when you're coming out of just doing pub gigs, like I did a whole lot of pub gigs and venues like Piano Man, etc. And it was great in the sense, like, there was a lot of learning, because the more you practice your craft on stage, it kind of the more you feel that you reach that flow state. You reach that you start reaching that zen state. You start, like a good stand-up comedian, you get better at reading a room. That's
Yeah.
what they call it.
Yeah.
So I've gotten better at reading rooms. In terms of working on a craft, you do that. But like we were discussing earlier before we started podcast, is there's only so many things one human being can handle.
Right.
And that's where I'm at. So in terms of management, I don't have a manager, so in case anyone's watching this, you want to manage me, give me a call, right? In terms of management, in terms of just certain things where someone who has a forte in business can come in and say, okay, fine, I'll make money, but they'll also make money. And it's what we need is a healthy, like a healthy relationship, right? In terms of like if you have a manager or a promoter, because that's the only way things grow. If you look at nearsightedness and say, okay, I'm, you know what, I'm just going to bung these guys in for another show where the whole band makes 35, 40K, then there's not going to really be any growth.
Right.
In terms of what the product is. So what we need is people who can come in and, you know, plug in the gap business wise, or can help put up a production, can help get sponsors for sure. Because जो मैं संभाल सकता हूँ, which is कि एक बार आप आ गए, I can guarantee you have a good time. And I feel that's what an artist should kind of focus on. I look at myself as that person, like who would like to be in a position where I'm only focused on कि यार आप आ गए. I'll give you an example. Last year we were doing a show in this brilliant venue in Bangalore called Finder. These guys did a brilliant international blues day or whatever. And some friends who had never seen me play, but they had come because they're Bangalore lot and we're Delhi based. So they had come and ये clarify करना पड़ता है कभी कभी. So they had come and they said, are you scared? अब क्या घबराना है? ठीक है नहीं इतने सारे लोग हैं. I said, अब तो ना I'm relaxing है.
Right.
Because I said, up to what I do, I'll do.
Exactly.
People are here. So great. The stage is looking amazing. The venues looking packed. Opening act is killer.
Right.
Right. Now it's somebody has already warmed the toilet seat for me. Now all I have to do is take a shit.
What an analogy, Uday.
क्या करना? अब क्या करना? आपको हो गया सारा काम.
Yeah.
डर तो तब लगता है जब इवेंट लगता है कि फ्लॉप हो जाएगा. कि हाँ
बिल्कुल.
लगता है कि पांच लोग आए हैं. Then you're just like, so that's where, you know, like that's what I feel. That's where a great partnership in terms of, you know, promotion and, you know, like a great band, things like that. It's so important.
Yeah.
It's so important. It's so important to get a third person perspective in terms of कि आपके, you know, how are you looking? Like lots of times I just take, this is a bit of a tangent, but like lots of times I take input from the video guy. Can you imagine someone sitting there for hours and hours editing your videos? He's seeing your body language.
Yeah.
Right. So he's gonna give you tips, visual perspective. He's gonna tell you things. You know, can you change these? Can you change this under this lighting? You look in a certain way. So production is important.
Yeah.
And everything, your audience might not be able to intellectualize what part of the experience that then is not optimal for them, but it is, but it's somewhere subliminally, or if not overtly on the top, it is registering.
Right. Of course.
It is registering.
Keep understanding.
And everything together corresponds to a great experience.
Yeah.
Including something as simple as what you and I might not even consider if we're playing a show.
Yeah.
Is that you're standing, you're standing and you're just not being able to get a beer. Because let's say, for example, the venue has a capacity of 300 people, but there are 500 people who've come.
Yeah.
So service slows down. All of these things, like they hamper someone's experience. That's what the whole damn thing is, right? Like so many things. The quality of what equipment for sound has been rented, because if sound is shit, it's going to vastly hamper. And God knows, man, like everybody knows that it's like, you know, when people are trying to hustle, when people are trying to put up independent shows, sometimes sound gets compromised,
Right.
or the skill of an engineer gets overlooked. You get someone who's fairly junior on and has not mixed,
Life. True.
for a substantial number of years to be comfortable in his craft, and you get a band like with way more many years of experience,
Yeah.
right? So these are all things which are important. So coming back to my fandom thing was like, hey man, this is all looked after. Now I'm just gonna do what I have to do.
Right.
Like Sachin and Wankhede. Home मारेगा छक्के.
Damn nice. Yeah. Really, really nice conversation. I loved every bit of understanding where you come from, the insights that you have for at least pulling off a live show, what it really takes. Now, just in terms of, are there any advice that you would like to give any musician, anything that you've learned through? I mean, you've discussed a lot of it, but top one or two advice that might help a budding artist to just come and start performing live, maybe in the blues and rock and roll space, how to make it
Liminal
happen, because
space.
it's a very niche space now.
Okay. Disheartened मत होना.
Oh,
Nothing is worth feeling less about yourself. Nothing is worth feeling like shit about yourself. Khushi khushi karna. Enjoy it. Even when there are challenges, try and look at the bigger picture. Try and remember why you're doing what you're doing. Like, you started off with you had some idea, something which excited you, something which made you come alive
yeah.
in this, in this world of so many noises and so many opinions and social media, and do that thing which break which makes you feel alive, which makes you feel good about yourself. Um, don't hang out with other musicians. Don't hang out with other musicians. Hang out with your friends from school or something, but don't hang out with other musicians. May hang out with one or two musicians,
Yeah.
but when you hang out with other musicians, don't talk about music. Don't talk about what you practice. Be keep that to yourself. Uh, think about what you're trying to build rather than endlessly working on your ability to play faster or cleaner, or um, your intellectual pursuits. Keep your intellectual pursuits. Keep all of that. But think about what you're trying to build. What you're trying to present. What you're trying to present to the world. What is your best foot forward?
Right.
Think things like that. But longevity is think about longevity. Think about in terms of avoiding assholes that make you feel negative about yourself, because it's just not worth it. It's going to be taxing, it's going to be draining, and क्या फायदा अगर आपको चूतियों की वजह से म्यूजिक छोड़ना पड़ेगा.
Biल्कुल.
कोई फायदा नहीं है, right? Avoid uncles like me who just give you advice when you're not asking for it. Like,
No, I asked him.
मैं
I
नहीं
asked him
मैं
to it.
इन्होंने पूछा, बट कई बार तो मैं बस ऐसे ही दे देता हूँ. क्या करूँ? आदत का मजबूर हूँ. Like, follow people who you want to be like, and don't follow people who have more fundas. Like, are all no, what I mean is just see something that works and try and incorporate
Yeah.
as much as you can. Uh, there is something. I mean, this is something. It pains me to say this, but there's something to learn from most people, most artists. There's something to learn from. You can learn about business. You can learn about presentation. You can learn about if not just music, and you can draw inspiration from everywhere, from movies, from artists, from personalities. Let's say, for example, you have an uncle who has great, or an aunt who has great body language. You can pick up a mannerism from them, or something which is going to make you feel more confident about yourself, believe in yourself, and try and try and be that person who somebody wasn't for you in your life.
Mm.
You know, try and be that person. If somebody kicked you when you were down, then don't be that person, right? Be that person who you would have liked at that stage, at that stage in your life. There's room for everybody, you know. There's room for everybody. Uh, I feel that we can all be our own best version, and we can all live our own truth. We can all live our own
So
truth.
possible.
We all have something to say, but it's not gonna happen if you're in a dark space. If you're in a dark space, you can reach out. You should reach out. And if your friends are if your friends are doing who are in the arts or in dark space, encourage them to reach out. Tell them that they're not alone. That's one of the good things about this era, is that there is so much of an importance on an emphasis on mental health and well-being.
Yeah. Well,
Just and last but not the least, doing is doing, not doing is not doing, right?
you
So
got
if
to
it's
do.
if it's a question of doing as opposed to not doing, I suggest you pick doing. Right? You pick the former, not the latter, right?
Yeah.
So because people will judge you, and I don't mean judge you in a way, but like people will like look at what you build, what you create. So go out there and do it.
Yeah.
You know, like take it, take it head on, and don't worry, because don't worry about anything. Just go out and do it.
Perfect. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. Another thing that I think I learned from this man is yes, you got to build what you have to build. You have to do to build that, impact or the what you have to present to the world in terms of as a musician. One thing which is very important that I learned today, and which I do believe is very important, is the consistency. It could be a brand consistency. It could be a consistency about what you envisioned and are working towards. You have to have some kind of consistency on that front. Look at the man. Like he's wearing a velvet jacket.
And velvet pants too.
Whenever I've met him, he's wearing a velvet jacket. Like this guy knows how to pull off Mr. Guy Velvet because that's, I think, truly who he is. He's truly fallen in love with it. But the consistency really helps, not just in brand, but also in what you do. So I think it'll definitely help everyone. But yeah, Uday, I think this conversation has been absolutely wonderful.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Honestly, a pleasure.
We keep doing this.
Yes, we should. We should.
We-
We definitely we should
We
have
keep
another
doing. We
conversation.
can keep doing this.
Nanji, when as soon as your album launch happens, we
We'll-
should try
yeah,
and
we'll-
kind of have
Find other facets.
exactly. I think you'll have a lot of learning till that time as well, and I would
Yeah.
also want to learn a bit more, and I think the people also would like to understand more. But yeah, it's been a great conversation today.
It's my
Thank you
honor.
so much, and
Thank
to
you so much.
everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today for another episode of Track Talk with Sodhi, and hopefully we see you in the next episode again. Peace out. Thank you. Cheers.